This is episode 5, a dual episode with me and special guest Catherine Ziegler. We're going to be talking about the winter solstice and preparing for the new year today on Cultivating Guts. Hello, it's Tiffany, and welcome back to Cultivating Guts, a podcast where we discuss gardening, homesteading, gut health, and following our intuition. I am so excited to be back with you guys. It has been a few days since we recorded this episode with Catherine Ziegler. And as I sit here and reflect on our discussion and our conversation and just the insights, and it's just so powerful. I've had so many insightful moments and ideas and important topics, and just so much has come through for myself as I prepare for the new year. And as we get ready to host our own winter solstice mini circle tonight in my home. So I am super excited. If you have wanted to watch this podcast live, I want you to know that you can jump over to YouTube at youtube.com/Tiffany Hinton and tune in there. And if you're over on YouTube and you're watching our podcast, please like and subscribe, leave us a comment, some love, and it's just going to be amazing. So in this discussion with Catherine, we talk about the winter solstice. We talk about what it means, different rituals that we have done in the past, things we're planning to do this year. And then we dive into our own intuition and using the winter time, the time of like Hagee, right? And coziness, and to prepare, to get ready for the light to start to expand, and for us to go into a waxing light and a waxing moon. As the seasons change. So super, super excited for this podcast for you guys to listen today. And before we get started, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the Cultivating Guts podcast, and send me a screenshot of your review to tiffany@gfmomcertified.com, and I will send you our 4-day Hacking Your Health Gut Detox Plan. Also, if you are listening, screenshot your favorite part and share it with us on Instagram at gfmomcertified or at Cultivating Guts, and I will repost it. I'm excited to hear what our listeners have to say, and I'm excited for you to hear today's episode. I'm so grateful to you and all of our amazing listeners for helping us grow the podcast and sharing it with more people. And before we head into a show, here's a quick word from our sponsors. So I'm super excited for our sponsor, Holistic Wellness. It is a CBD company that we found actually online during 2021, and we've been using their products in our house, our family, myself, our girls. I even gave some to a friend of mine and for her pet, and it is truly an amazing product. The uniqueness that Holistic Wellness delivers is that it's pre-portioned servings in a broad spectrum CBD in a portable beverage stick. So you could actually take a package, you can stick it in your purse, you can, pack it in your suitcase, whatever you need to do. But it's also in a stick that, like I said, is pre-portioned. So every grab and go stick contains 10 milligrams of CBD wellness, and they have a proprietary blend, and it's water soluble, their hemp extract, which is also very, very unique in that you can put it in water, you could put it in juice, you could put it in another liquid. It completely dissolves, and it's truly amazing. The other thing that is really, really awesome about the Holistic Wellness is that they have different blends intentionally. So this beauty blend has collagen in it. So it helps your nails, your skin, your different parts of your body that need a little extra boost. They have a stress blend, which has lemon balm, or you're more familiar with what's called Melissa. And it is relaxing. It is also amazing. But if you're actually looking for something to relax you to go to sleep, they actually have a sleep stick. And in the sleep stick, it has a little bit of melatonin to help with your sleep, along with chamomile, which is shown to help relax the body. They also have a digest blend for those that are listening to our podcast that have stomach problems, complaints, bloating, just issues with digesting. And it contains papaya and turmeric, which are great for digestion. and it's awesome as well. I like this one. This is probably my favorite. The Digest Blend. It's an orange package. They also have an Energizer blend that has turmeric and ginger in it. And the Energizer blend is great if you need to pick me up in the afternoon, like you hit that 3 o'clock low and you don't really need to reach for caffeine. You just need something to pick up your body. They have a 10-pack that you can order on their website. And what's truly amazing is that for this holiday season, we have a special coupon for our listeners, and the code is GFMOM, so GFMOM, and it saves 25% off your order. That is like unheard of, really, to get 25% off your whole order. You can utilize this by going to the Holistic Wellness website. We've got the link below in the show notes. And I'm super grateful and excited for our brand new sponsor, Holistic Wellness, and to be able to offer you a great CBD product that is organically grown in a greenhouse, never touches soil. It's actually grown hydroponically. And it's combined, like I said, in unique blends with herbs and plants that have additional benefits for your body, whether it's helping you go to sleep or it's helping you aid in digestion, or there is, like I said, the collagen, or it's the helping you relax or relieve the anxiety. And so super excited. Again, the code to save 25% off your holiday order is GFMOM, and we'll have the link and the code below in the show notes. Can I share with you a secret weapon for thriving through the holiday season, thriving through life, and just keeping my gut in check, right? This is Gluten Away from Just Thrive. I love their probiotics. I found them about 10 years ago. They're a female-owned company based right here in Chicago. And this Gluten Away product that they have is a combination that is my go-to for every meal that I eat out, all of my travel, whether I'm on an airplane or in a car, or even if I'm going to a friend's house and I'm just really not sure about the cross-contamination. This helps me keep my celiac disease and Crohn's disease in remission. And when I pair this with their probiotic each day, my gut is truly thriving. I have painless stomachs. I don't really have cramps anymore. I'm regular, which is awesome, right? Nobody really wants to get constipated. And I know that I have a healthy gut colony of good bacteria living in my microbiome. Just Thrive's probiotics are a unique blend of powerful digestive enzymes. Their probiotics are designed to support optimal digestion and protect against hidden sources of tummy troubles like gluten. This Gluten Away product has the enzyme protease in it, which is scientifically proven to break down the gluten protein to make it digestible, to make it less abrasive on the gut. The resilient probiotic spores support the complex and complete digestive process and help me alleviate inflammation in my body. Our whole family uses Just Thrive's probiotics, their products, and their Gluten Away. Even my girls, you can bake with their capsules by opening them on the probiotics. The Gluten Away enzyme, like I said, I take it anytime we're eating out. I take it at restaurants, at people's houses. Even put it in my morning coffee, right? You can open it, add it to your coffee if you're not sure about the creamer or something else. And with the probiotic, you can do the same. You can add it to your coffee. Did you guys know that spore-based probiotics can survive warm temperatures even? This is how it allows us to bake with them. They can cook up to 500 degrees. And this means you can even add them to the probiotics to your morning pancake batter. We have a special community discount code just for you from Just Thrive Probiotics and their family at Just Thrive. And so the code GFMOM, GFMOM, saves you 15% off your total purchase at their website. We will add that to the show notes. We would love for you to add a bottle of Just Thrive Gluten Away and a bottle of their probiotics to your cabinet, in your kitchen, and also to your purse this season. So you have it with you anytime you're eating out or you're at a friend's house or any celebration or holiday meal. And thank you again, Gluten Away, for being our podcast sponsor. And with that, we're going to head right into the show. All right, we are back, and we are with Catherine Ziegler, the owner and founder and the brains and the bronze behind KLZ Method. And I'm so excited to be having this conversation today with Catherine and around the winter solstice. And we're actually going to release this episode on the winter solstice. So welcome, Catherine.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you.
I'm super excited for our conversation today. Um, Catherine had the unique opportunity to contribute to the 2021 holiday guide, and we also talked winter solstice, and I interviewed her for that article. So if you haven't seen that, pick up this year's copy of the holiday guide, and there is an article in there with different ways to celebrate, which is part of what we're going to get to today, but also kind of what the winter solstice is and what it means. And so maybe we start there, Catherine. For those of people that are not astrology inclined or have no idea what the winter solstice is, do you want to give us, first of all, tell us a little bit more about yourself and then maybe a brief introduction to what the winter solstice is for you?
That sounds great. I think that's a perfect way to go about it. My name is Catherine Louise Ziegler. That's my initials KLZ. So the KLZ method is my method that I've kind of created for my 25 years of personal experience in sort of hunting my own spirit and coming into a closer relationship with myself, finding my own authentic gifts and my soul's purpose. So it's a culmination of fitness. I'm a personal trainer. It's also got some Reiki energy in there. I'm a Reiki master and Kundalini Kriyas. I'll be a Kundalini teacher in the next month as long as I finish all my things that I need to still do. Um, it also includes rituals, sacred and practical, and some yoga classes, just all the different things on how we can really connect deeper in to ourselves. I'm currently filming a chakra course that just really ties in the chakras and how all these different systems really work well with the chakra system as an exploration to our true essence. So that is a short description. I think as far as the winter solstice, I used to really not enjoy winter at all because, it's cold, it's darker. We're in Chicago, Tiffany and I both are. And it wasn't initially something that I loved. I would almost get anxiety in the fall because I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so cold and so dark. And I don't know if it's because of the investment of a pair of Carhartt bib overalls that I just wear a lot in the winter, just getting some good gear. But I've really stepped into a different perspective on winter. I think everybody kind of feels that right after the Lionsgate portal opens up on 8/8, on August 8th, we get so much light flooding in. And then it's kind of like the end of summer where you're almost kind of hoping for a rainy day just so you have an excuse to stay inside and read a book and do something relaxing. There's just so much yang energy in the summer and it's so fun. It brings up so many beautiful things for us and shines so much light on different things. But I really have learned to love the yin energy of winter and just coming into that darkness and taking everything that you've done in this last year and doing like a deeper dive on some of the things that you've done, some of the things that you've brought in, and reconstructing or re-diagramming how you want your next year to go when you come into that light cycle again. So it's just really been a beautiful way for me personally to take sort of a hibernation, to slow down a little bit, and to welcome all of the things that this darkness really, allows us to do. And that winter solstice is, of course, the time of year where we are at the darkest point, and then we start to come back into the light. So I love to use it as sort of a turning point for myself in the time when we are coming into further and further darkness to sort of wane out or weed out what it is that I'm ready to release. And then December 21st, looking towards what am I going to do with this light? It's sometimes really interesting because we're still in such darkness and such cold weather. In Chicago, we aren't even at the coldest in December 21st, but starting to kind of plan and plot out how I want my light time, my time in the light to go for that next year.
I love it. And I love like in traditional Western culture, we've kind of come up with this idea of setting goals and New Year's resolutions, but they're really built on those intentions and those things that people would have set thousands of years ago with the light coming in, right? And the expansion and the light getting longer. And so I love kind of what you're saying because I can totally relate. Like summer came and went, fall came, and then even in my own garden, I just kind of was like, I'm tired of picking. I'm tired
Yeah.
of dealing with it. And the wildlife, here it is, right? Like, have a feast. And it's because it started to get colder. It's because the days got shorter, and they're continuing to get shorter until we hit the winter solstice, which is our darkest day of the year or shortest day. Um, and then I feel like for me, it's this renewal, and it is kind of, okay, now let's plan the garden and let's plan the next year. And we've got some really cool traditions in my own family we do, where we make like a list of 100 things we want to do in the next year. And sometimes we do them and sometimes we don't. And sometimes the 100 things are like go to Turkey, and some of the times are like bake cupcakes, right? Or have a fire in the backyard. And then so there's this expansion of like, um, from things that are like way, way huge dreams, goals, bucket list to
Right.
items that are so easily achieved. But me and the girls create that list of 100 every calendar year together. And then we go back throughout the year and check things off and celebrate the things that we were able to do.
Oh,
Um, I would love to hear kind of some of your traditions around the winter solstice, or things that you've started with your family or with your daughter.
yeah. I love too that you were speaking about, how you do things as a gardener, just how the seasons play. And I know that you come from a farm background, so do I. And I'm sort of still involved in that in my corporate job, working in agriculture and hedging and whatnot. And, seasonally, farmers at this point, everybody thinks like winter is the season of rest. And it is a very, the earth is resting under that blanket of snow. The earth is doing so much more than resting, though. And as the farmers or the gardeners, we're counting our seeds, and we're reconfiguring where we might put this versus last year and different things, just to kind of plan. So, talking about New Year's resolutions and all of those kind of things, I really do love, I can't even help myself. I'm an Aries, so I can't even resist, some reason to start off with a new fire. But in the last few years, I've really kind of held off until spring to really kick into high gear, and I've used the time of the dark months, to just plan and plan and plan and replan and review and put sticky notes all over the wall, and then change how the sticky notes are looking, you know what I mean? And just really kind of reconfigure how and map out exactly how I want it to go.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we like to do around here, obviously we love playing in the snow and doing all the seasonal things. I just think it's so important to get out and experience all of the different seasons and that kind of thing. But I've recently brought Rose into a couple different meditation things, and she told me the other day that she wants to be a yoga teacher. I almost fell over. I've been
It's
trying to get her
awesome.
in a dance class or to do something, and she says, "No, no, I don't want to do that." And then she just said out of the blue, "I want to be a yoga teacher." And I was like, "Yes, we will do that." So teaching her some of the different meditations and sharing with her. We talked about this, Tiffany, and it's in your holiday guide too. The candle gazing exercise. That's all about your third eye. I feel like it's also related to the solar plexus because it's that fire element. And taking a candle and holding it up, turning off all the lights, obviously making sure that you're safe and you're not going to accidentally light the house on fire. So having it in a bowl or something like that, having a cup of water nearby if you don't trust yourself or if you've got some flammable curtains. But just taking that candle and staring at the candle for a minute or two. If you set an alarm, just set a gentle alarm so that you're not jolted out of your stare. But just taking that candle and holding it up to your gaze and just looking at this candle for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever you decide you want to do, and looking at the wick and noticing where the wick and the flame are individual and where they are together as one, and where the different colors of the flame are, where the blue layer is, where the white flame and where the yellow flame is, and just really getting interested in the whole, just using it as a meditation, just getting interested in the whole appearance in front of you. And after that time, a minute or 2 minutes or whatever you do, putting the candle down safely and closing your eyes and just sitting in stillness. And this is said to really open your third eye. When I've done this before, I'll close my eyes and it's like I see all these geometric images of different colors and doing all these crazy Tetris things. It's really amazing. And then sleeping and noticing and writing down your dreams. It's just such a beautiful way of opening up your intuition. Scorpio season kicks this off. We just came out of Scorpio season that's all about deep transformation and going into that darkness. And it's just such a cool way. Like once we're into Scorpio and then we come into this season now, it's such a beautiful time in the Sagittarius energy to do this in these darkest and cold months. So that's one of my most favorite things.
It just sounds so amazing. I actually, we're going to do that. We're mapping out a winter solstice Yule evening. So
Beautiful.
we're going to map it out. And I think two of the girls are going to join me for those rituals that evening, and definitely light our Yule log and do gratitude. But candle gazing is on there. I want to
Yeah,
smudge the house that day.
I
And
love it.
then I really want to spend some time writing gratitude, even
Mm,
though I've already written gratitude for the year, but like really, really gratitude for the year, and just kind of releasing those into indoor fire ceremony.
I love it.
So,
A beautiful one to do as well, like again, because it's the waning energy. I think from December 18th until the 21st, those 3 days, right now we're in a waxing moon, we're in the waxing cold moon. So the moon is going from dark to a full moon. And so that energy is waxing or it's growing. They say if you want to, anything that you trim back will grow more. So if you want your hair to grow and you trim your hair in a waxing moon, your hair is supposed to grow more. Whereas if you trim your hair in a waning moon, it's supposed to hold that cut longer. So in a waxing moon, it's amazing to plant seeds or amazing to do these kind of things where you're drawing in something that you want to grow. And in a waning moon, like once the moon is full and it starts to go back to a dark moon, it's really cool to let go of things that you're ready to let go of. And for me personally, I get really into the energy of, right now the light is really waning from the summer solstice. So the light is still waning. We've got these three, most, well, I guess there are six because you come into it with the waning and then you go back out of it after December 21st. It will start to grow again, and those are just as dark. But I like to use that waning energy of the light in conjunction with the waning energy of the moon. And it's just such a beautiful and holy time, those 3 days where you're really in deep on that waning energy, and you can release the things that you're ready to release of what didn't serve you this year. What have you noticed that keeps coming up that you just cannot let go of? And of course, be gentle with yourself. This isn't like a sabotage kind of thing or something, but looking into deeper what you're ready to let go of and maybe finding a new perspective on it, letting it go with love, letting it go and recognizing that it was something that came into your life for a reason and you just don't need it anymore. So releasing it to somebody else that maybe needs that as a positive attribute to get them out of some kind of thing that they do need, that, suit of armor or whatever it was. I love that for those 3 days. I just kind of mapped that out. So that'll be a cool one as you're writing things down to kind of reflect on too, Tiffany.
that is amazing. I will, I'm going to add to that a little bit, because that is like something I do every month with the full moon, is kind of
Yeah.
what am I ready to release? What am I ready to let go of? But as we go into, like you said, these 3 days of the winter solstice and kind of going into the new year, if you're listening to this podcast, like grab your journal, answer those questions that Catherine just said, but also answer, what's holding you back? What are your limiting beliefs?
Mhm.
And are you ready to let go of those? And then one of the things that I love doing, and I picked this up from another spiritual teacher, but is envisioning those in a bubble, almost like if you'd blown a bubble with bubbles outside in the summer, and telling them that you see them, that you acknowledge them, that you no longer need them, but that and you release them, and like watching those bubbles kind of just float away, or however you want to envision, or maybe they pop or whatever. And you visually let that stuff go intentionally.
Mhm. I love
Um,
it. It's
yeah.
beautiful.
So super, super cool.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
Um,
like a severance, right? It doesn't have to be like, "Get out of here, you
no.
dirty whatever. It doesn't have to be something so harsh. It can just be like, "Hey, thank you. And now, we're moving on."
Yeah. It's almost like that Hawaiian prayer, that I see you,
Mhm.
I love you. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think it's important to, though, to acknowledge it, because it was there to teach us a lesson, or for us to learn, or to overcome, or it's been there for some reason, whether we like the reason or not.
Yeah,
And so acknowledging that you've received your lesson and you're ready to go forward, I think is important.
beautiful.
So, okay, so we've got candle gazing on the docket. We've got journaling on the docket. It's super fun though, right? And then, like you said, then the light codes shift after the winter solstice, and we start having more daylight.
Mhm.
do you, and I know last year you had some like programs you were running, but do you have suggestions for people that might want to get outside to do some hiking, some actually getting some sun codes, some light codes that are
Mhm.
downloaded? Because we're going to be in this, like, for most of us, right? We kind of like, even if we have a day job, we kind of not always work it during the holidays coming up into New Year's. And so you
Yeah.
might have some time. What are some ideas that you might have for somebody?
So in stepping into the sunlight on December 22nd and really using, like you said, those light codes, it's, like here where we are, it's so cold. So the first thing I would suggest is go south. But since that's not all reality all the time, and we do love our cold weather here, or even, we can't vacation all the time. I really like to, when it is a sunny day, it's like you just appreciate the light so much more. When you're in the summer and you wake up at 4:30 and it's like, "Oh my god, it's already light out." It's light and, so much of the day. But in the winter, we really can have such a deeper appreciation for the sun. It's like, "Get in my eyeballs. I can feel you in my optic nerve. Go to my brain. Tell them everything it's okay is okay." Um so I'll do my morning workouts and then I'll come upstairs, and it was funny for a while. I would teach my morning class, and when I was finished with that, I would come outside to stare at the sun, just go outside, and I was super hot, so it was a perfect time. I usually am cold, so it was great when I was warm to go outside and just stand there, breathe in the cold air, stare at the sunrise. You have to obviously be careful of your cornea, but right before it came up, I could stare at it. And I had one of my neighbors that was always running at that time, so it would be I would go outside, stand in the cold, stare at the sun, and he would jog by. It's like it ended up being like a little special ritual that we would just kind of share together. You know what I mean? But just kind of getting in wherever you can. If you're even driving and you're in your car and it's a beautiful sunny day out and you can see it, just pull over and just get out and remove
Absorb
that
it.
windshield between you and let that light come right into the crown of your head or feel it on your face, just any part of your body that you can tolerate letting that sun get into. That's how we soak up that vitamin D, is through our skin. So, open your vest for just a second and let your heart get some sun on it, or put your palms of your hands up to really soak it in however you can, and then definitely go on vacation.
That's awesome. I know last year for myself, as soon as the winter solstice was over, I was ready to like be out again in nature.
Yeah.
And I invested in some warmer gear.
Yeah.
And me and a neighbor and a friend of mine, from where we live, we can walk through a nature preserve and then we can walk around a lake. And it's like a 3 mile loop back to our neighborhood. And so
Beautiful.
we started doing these 3 mile walks, and it'd be like 30 degrees. And some of our
Right.
neighbors were like, "What are you guys doing?"
Right.
But we just like felt so much more energized.
Yeah.
And it was getting out in that like late morning sun
Right.
and with the air, even though it was cooler. And oh my gosh. And
I love it.
it was
Yeah,
so
it's
great.
so
One of my neighbors
still.
ended up buying hiking boots because she's like, "I
Yeah.
want in."
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
really beautiful, and that is 2 things. A, your gear has got to be on point, and once you change your perspective on gear, like, spend $50 on gloves. My husband just went to the University of Michigan football game, and he's resisted. He used to never be cold, and suddenly he's like, "I don't." We were all out as a family playing in the snow last year, and he was miserable because he had these winter
mm,
pants on over his jeans. So I was like, "Why don't you just get some stuff?" So he went to Dick's Sporting Goods and
mhm.
spent like $400, but he went to this football game and it's snowing, and he was like, "I could have stood there all day. It's awesome." So, I feel like the air is just so much more crisp, and
Yeah.
there's like the stillness is just so beautiful. Like, I have this little special place that I can only go to in the wintertime because in the summer the weeds are too high. But in the winter I can go out there and I'll just lay down, and like, little animals come running by. Like, I had this buck walk by and they were like, "What is she doing?" And, just being out there and you can really feel that oneness with nature in a different kind of way because it's just so still and you can see so far and you can connect into just the snowflakes dropping from the top of the tree. It's so
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
So really getting and investing in gear is just such an amazing shift, and finding the right boots and getting wool socks and all that kind of stuff. I have some of these things tagged to my Amazon store because I just am obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Huge difference. But once you have it, I think it's so important coming 22nd and forward just to make time to be out in nature.
Right. The other thing too is that the cold therapy is a complete game changer for your nervous system. Tiffany and I both are, we're in this Kundalini training together, and one of the things that we did on a retreat together was an ice bath. It was summer, so we're like looking for the ice because it's so hot, and it was quite an experience. It was very expansive. So we have a hot tub in the backyard, and so we'll do what I call the redneck ice bath, and there'll be like some big huge snowbank at the side of the hot tub. And I did not encourage my kids to do this. I was like a little bit uncomfortable with them doing it, but they saw me jump into the snowbank and roll on my one side and then roll on the other side and then slip and slide to get back into the hot tub where they were all kind of sitting in there nice and warm. And Rose was like, "I've got it. Let me do it." I'm like, "I don't know." So she did it. She's like, "Oh my gosh, it burns my skin." It's such a crazy sensation, but it really just
It's
definitely
invigorating.
clears your mind. Yeah, it does so
Yeah.
much for your nervous system to be able to be in that cold and calm yourself down with your breath and return to the breath and use that as the powerful tool that it is. And just feel that whole shift in your mindset for the next day. I'm not kidding. It just makes such a huge difference.
It's a huge difference. Medicinally and medically, it's huge. So
Mhm.
even last February, we're like, I don't remember if it was -30, -19,
Yeah.
whatever the crazy weather was last February. But there was one day where it was above zero, and me and the girls went out and we took our shoes and socks off and we stood in the Des Plaines River,
Yeah.
like pulled
Oh
our
my
pant
goodness.
legs up.
Mhm.
And it is so, like you said, it's good for the nervous system, but from an autoimmune disease perspective and from some of
Yeah.
this other stuff, it is just like a total reset for your
Mhm.
metabolism and for so many things that, like, that's one of the things on my list already for this year. Like between Christmas and New Year's, I want to hike out to the Forest Preserve and go to the river and like stand barefoot again, just because
My gosh.
I feel
It
like
is
I need that grounding.
it is not comfortable. I mean, it is like you swear. I swear. That's the only thing I know how to do is just like let him out because it's not fun. But when afterwards, once you're finished, you're like, wow, that is something else. I mean, we did the Wim Hof method. It's all about the breathing and then doing the breathing instead of the swearing. Which I maybe
Yes.
did like half and half.
Yeah, and I think that's something else depending on the weather and where you're at. It's
Mhm.
awesome around that solstice time going in and, light codes
Yeah,
and resetting that way.
I love it.
I'm going to jump back to solstice for a little bit as we kind of round out. But so we've got coming off the full moon on the 19th, we're in a waning moon, so the moon is shrinking.
Mhm.
And we've got the solstice, and then Yule this year also starts on the 21st. And so that is a celebration. And in Yule, we bring in, wreaths and pine and fire ceremonies again and more gratitude. But there is also this idea of planting for the new year.
Mm.
And so, and kind of getting, the energy for the new. I'm personally going to be garden planting. I'm going to have graph
Yeah,
paper out and like be figuring
yeah.
out where I'm planting plants and things like that. Is there anything special that you have that you are going to be growing or wanting to put intuition into for the new year?
Definitely my membership that we'll talk more about in a moment, but I think that mine for this next year is going to be a shift in mindset. This year for me has really been about building, and I have built and built and built. And I'm really excited to see Remington Donovan. He does his numerology report for the year, so I'm really excited to see what that will share. I think I'm a 4 next year, so I'm really excited to see what he will share with what this year holds. It's kind of part of my ritual just to kind of take that in for a few days, drink some cacao around it, call in the ancestors and the guides, and get more information on it. So I haven't really set it up yet. I always use these moon cycles as I don't always know what I'm going to release or what I'm going to pull in, but I use it as a tool to bring me into connection with what I am ready to release and let go of. You know what I mean? So maybe it's a little bit
Yeah.
different than yours, Tiffany. It sounds like you kind of know when you go into it, where I kind of feel into it. I'm like, what's going on here,
Mm,
everybody? How we doing? Show me what's happening. And the pieces kind of start to come together and paint a picture, tell a story, and it gives me
yeah.
guidance that way.
I use the last full moon of November to do my releasing and my reflection and how did the business do this
Mhm.
year and add up the money and what is all the accomplishments and to really just dive in like what didn't work and what made me crazy and what can be done different and what do we need to continue to declutter or get rid of and I do about 50 pages of journal prompts that I have built myself over the last decade. And then just this past week with the new moon, I sat down and started to answer the questions now with this new intention, knowing that all of this is done,
Mhm.
grateful for it. But now, like, where am I headed in the new year? What is it
Yeah.
going to look like? What do I want differently? What maybe limiting beliefs to that point earlier? Like, am I still holding on to? Do I still want those? Do I not want those? What is my word of the year? Like starting to lay all of that out. So I know like going into the solstice, kind of there's going to be additional gratitude things I'm sure that show up, but I kind of have
Mhm.
this list already that I want to use
Mhm.
and build upon. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So
Yeah,
I've
you
spent
always blow me away.
hours.
You always blow me away just how diligent you are on this stuff. You're just so on top of it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's years in the making, but there's
Yeah.
been so many amazing benefits that
Mhm.
it's like, why would I not do it?
Yeah, we're on one right now. This podcast was literally manifested, right?
Yeah, it was an idea in March.
Right.
And it was just a passing idea. And I was like, yeah, no. And then I'm like, wait a minute. What about that?
Right.
Yeah, so this is a manifestation. There's so many things that have dropped in just since the oh my gosh, since the solar eclipse finished and
Yeah.
now we're in a new solar eclipse
Mhm.
season. Like
Mhm.
that last season, like almost everything that I wrote down has come to fruition. It's kind of
It's amazing.
amazing. Totally
Yeah.
amazing. And so I am diligent, I will say that. Yes.
Yeah, I love
Um
it. We
the
also have we also have a comet and a meteor show going on. Did you know that? The 1212, this comet is the closest to the planet Earth that it will be. So people are already kind of tracking it and sharing, you can look on Instagram or something and type in, I can't remember what the name of the comet is, but you can see some really cool
Oh.
time lapses of it. It's so beautiful. And then there's supposed to be a powerful meteor show. I don't believe that they're linked, but they
Mhm.
are happening at the same time. And that's what I feel like personally. I have been experiencing some static around my connection with computers and whatnot, and
Mhm.
then just computers turning off and stuff like that. And a lot of people that I know have been experiencing that as well. So I feel like it's got some new light codes coming in, some pretty big light codes. I think there's supposed to be a massive solar flare that's ejecting from the sun that will put some massive Schumann resonance vibrations and frequencies down in through the northern lights and then be absorbed by all of our bodies. So drink a
Yeah,
lot of water and prepare for all that kind of stuff and hold yourself grounded because I think this will be a pretty powerful
it's gonna be a
um,
big year.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big closeout to the year for sure.
Mhm.
Lots of it. All right. So my last question is how do you cultivate guts daily?
Wow. Tell me cultivating guts, what that means exactly to you. I wanna hear your words around it because
Oh.
I know what it means, but I wanna hear what you say it is.
So for me, cultivating guts is cultivating intuition, cultivating your gumption, your grit, but
Mm.
also cultivating a microbiome that
Yeah.
can support your life.
I love hearing that description. I love it so much because, we have the three brains. I was just talking about this with somebody else. We have three brains: the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. And the head brain is all about the analytics. And everyone kind of talks badly about the head brain, like, oh, I just got to get out of my head. You need your head. You do need that analysis to take everything that you have and kind of put it together. Your heart brain is all about your giving and receiving and your love. Your heart literally is pumping blood, giving and receiving blood to your body. And then your guts, right? It's where your intuition is made. So it's your gut instincts and all that kind of stuff. And having those come together in a balance is just so important. So for me, cultivating guts, initially I always take that as like, how do you get through it? How do you toughen up and push through or something like that? It's your willpower center and stuff like that. So there is a part of that. But my guts have literally shifted in this last year because I've done so much internal work after having the hip replacement and then the chronic hives. Something was really shifting in my body where I needed to do a complete cleanse. And so I think I've done 9 or 10 hydrocolonics in the last 8 months,
Oh my gosh.
9 months. Yeah, it just really completely engineered my colon and my guts, literally. And it's stepped up my intuition in such a powerful way. Um, it's really just shifted so much. So cultivating guts for me used to be like, how do I get through this and how do I toughen up? And, the intestinal fortitude was a word that we used to use on the trading floor so much and stuff like that. And now my guts have literally shifted to not be toughen them up and let's just get through it. It's, really lean in and listen. And my guts literally feel like a portal into the higher realms. Whatever that tissue is that makes up our insides, our intestines, I feel like that how we care for that tissue is the same lining that is that connection from our crown chakra to the ethers. So if you take good care of your physical guts, by doing that, it's like somehow a portal or somehow connected to that other realm where you're creating that beautiful portal to connect yourself to the ethers in a stronger way as well. So that's kind of how I've cultivated my guts in this last year, is just to completely revamp and nourish. I do the lemon water in the morning and then the celery juice and all the medical medium stuff. I've stepped more into, my GF side than ever. I do still take a nosedive into a pizza every so often, but it's by all means like shifting my diet and being more mindful of how I'm taking care of that third chakra.
I love it. Love it. Oh my
You
gosh.
you would. You would. It's
So
right up
much,
your alley.
so much comes, yes. And the idea that we do still need our mind, right? And we
Mm,
need our heart brain, but so that's, I think, important to call out, but I think there's balance.
mhm.
And then this whole idea that your gut can, or what you said is like the tissue is also connected to, the higher beings, the higher realms, and
Yeah.
taking care of it is hugely important. So
I haven't seen that written or any scientific studies on it. It's just what I have felt in my own journey in this last year is like, wow, the more that I'm taking care of these things and doing these cleanses and the juice cleanses and the fasting, it's like, wow, I really just feel so connected. So it's beautiful.
yeah, so I'm gonna share more than I've probably shared for a while, with the bigger audience. So when I have a lot of visions, I lucid dream, and a lot of people don't realize that, and I see things that happen later in life. And recently, and this is as you said that, Catherine, I was like, oh my gosh. Recently, I keep seeing this image of a key that goes in and like unlocks the stomach, right? Like there's this
Ooh,
heart in the stomach, and it like this key fits in there and it unlocks. And what's interesting to me is we've been doing these specific kriyas, right, for ease and to bring in our greatness that are very much focused on that connection above
yeah,
your head.
yeah,
And so the idea that unlocking the stomach or unlocking the guts, right, or the solar plexus unlocks this higher connection is very intriguing.
yeah. I love it. You are so powerfully intuitive. I know that you know it, but I feel like you just kind of keep it hidden. It's so funny because it's like, man, you have such great intuition, and all the visions and things that you have experienced, especially in this last year, have been something else.
Yeah, it's getting to be more vocal. So
Yes, I
more to
love it.
come in 2022
Here we
there.
go.
Here we
Here we
go.
go. All of
But
us.
okay, as we round out, I want to say thank you, and I want you to let people know how they can work with you. How can they find your membership? We're going to have a lot of this in the show notes down below, and what do you have coming out in January from a physical, spiritual, component that they could potentially, take with your assistance or your teaching and gain their own
Yeah.
intuition.
Yes, I am currently wrapping up the membership, the offering that has I've been doing this now for 3 years, and really KLZ method has been sort of nothing that I wanted to create it. I mean, I obviously wanted to create it, but it's something that I've been kind of guided to. I had an idea of what I thought it was, and my guides were really kind of showing me some other things, and so I just decided to trust them, and it's coming full circle, and all the things that I thought it should be didn't work, and now here it is beautifully wrapped once I decided to allow and listen. Here it is. So 3 years later, I am coming to this membership that will be supportive in, personal training, in yoga. There are, like I said, Kundalini Kriyas, meditations, affirmations, and it all ties into the chakra system. So I have this chakra course that outlines, in like 15 or 20 minutes per each chakra, and there are 7 of them, And this chakra course that goes through all of the details, if you don't know anything about chakras, this will take you through on a very introductory level. It's also fantastic if you do know chakras, just because I always learn something new. Like there's always something that I've missed or some new, like, oh, right. So it takes everything through the chakra system, and then it sort of assigns different things like boxing for the heart chakra, where we're moving the heart energy, or squats for grounding energy, or Uddiyana Bandha, the yoga pose for pulling your power back into your solar plexus. Just different kinds of things that I've used to really connect in to the different chakras, and to ultimately come back to my truest essence, and to get into touch with what my divine purpose is, my dharma is on this planet, and supporting others as they come into that as well through this membership or one-on-one coaching or group coaching. Um, Retreats. We're doing our retreat to Costa Rica, not this January, but the following January. And we've got some beautiful incentives that expire this December in a couple of weeks. Free flights if you book in full, 20% paid will offer spa credits, 50% is the free traveler's insurance. So a lot of beautiful things. I say all of them and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, but it's been in the works for so long that it's so divinely aligned, and I'm just so excited to share it all. So you can check me out on klzmethod.com, or I'm in Instagram at klz.method, or my personal is KLZ, or is the real KLZ on Instagram.
I love it. Love it
Yeah.
so much. And
You
if you're
watched
listening to
it.
this, definitely, I did watch a lot of it grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Check out Catherine, join her membership. You will not regret it. And join us in Costa Rica. Like
Yes.
that's going to happen. So that's going to be
So
amazing.
fun. Oh my gosh,
Um,
I'm so grateful for your friendship and to have you in my life. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm so excited to see you grow this. I'm
Thank
so
you,
glad to be one of the
Catherine.
first people.
Thank you. And as you were talking, I have more questions. So we will do another episode later
Yes. I'll be
around
back.
auras and chakras. And oh my gosh. So, yes,
Beautiful.
that
The
will be so
conversation
fun.
never stops, right?
It doesn't.
All
All
right,
right.
sister. I love you so
Thanks.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share with me your favorite part, and also share if you try the candle gazing ritual we talked about today, or the fire circle for the winter solstice. Ask me any questions. I'm here for you, and I am excited to see all of your benefits. Satnam, I love you guys. So if you love this episode, remember to share it with your friends and send it to anyone who may love this inspiration and information that we shared. To get my newest book, Hacking Your Health Detox, a 3-week detox plan, go to Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, or anywhere books are still sold. So pick up this book. It's great for the new year. We also want to let you know that we have a live webinar coming up in January on planning your garden. I'm super excited for this to come together and for us to start planning our gardens together, and to look through seed catalogs and all the stuff that goes into laying out a garden plan to be ready to start planting and seed starting. And we're going to do it together in monthly webinars that we've got planned out from January through June. So yes, there are things that you can do every single month to get you closer and closer to your goals of having a backyard garden to provide food that is healthy for your gut, healthy for your family, and to help you have some sustainability in your own small space of the world or in your community. To get all the details on that, I want you to head over to tiffanyhinton.podia.com. And as the webinar goes live, you're going to be able to RSVP, sign up to join us, and so much more. We also have our gardening masterclass over at that same link, tiffanyhinton.podia.com, and you'll get all the stuff you need to start growing your own food to help your gut.